Samsaradava nalalita loka Taranaya karunya kana kanatam Praptasya kalena gunarnavasya Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Mahaprabhu Kirtanaritya Gita Vaditra Madhyam Manasora Sena Romanchakam Pashutaranga Bhajo Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Shivikrahara Dananitya Nana Shingara Tamandira Marjanado Nana Shingara Tamandira Marjanado Yutasya Bhaktam Chaniyunjatopi Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Yutasya Bhaktam Chaniyunjatopi Vande Guru Jatuvidhashi Bhagavat Prasada Sadhana Tripta Haribhakta Sangha Vidashi Kriteva Triptim Bhajatasa Deva Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Shri Radhika Madhavayora Para Madhurya Lila Gunarupa Namnam Radhika Madhavayora Para Madhurya Lila Gunarupa Patishana Swatana Lolupasya Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Patishana Swatana Lolupasya Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Nikunja Yuno Radhikeli Siddhai Yayari Pe Yuktera Peshaniya Nikunja Radhikeli Siddhai Yayari Pe Yuktera Peshaniya Tatrati Dakshat Ativallabhasya Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Tatrati Dakshat Ativallabhasya Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Sashathari Trina Samasta Shastre Uttasthatha Bhaviteva Sadhi Shatari Trina Samasta Shastre Uttasthatha Kintu Prabhoya Priyaeva Tasya Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Kintu Prabhoya Priyaeva Tasya Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Yasya Prasada Bhagavat Prasado Yasya prasada nakati kutopi prasada bhagavat prasado Yasya prasada nakati kutopi Dhyayam stuvam stasya yashasti santyam Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Stasya yashasti santyam Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Charanarvindam Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Nama Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Pachatya Deshatarine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Pachatya Desha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Nila Madhava Radha Nila Madhava Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha Nila Madhava Radha Nila Madhava Shri Radhe. Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra, Jaya Sudarshana. Jaya Sita Ram Jaya Lakshmana Hanuman Jaya Sita Ram Jaya Lakshmana Hanuman Jaya Lakshmi Nara Singha Jaya Lakshmi Nara Singha Jaya Lakshmi Nara Singha Jaya Lakshmi Nara Singha Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Nittai Gaura Hari Bolo Hari Bolo Hari Bolo Nittai Gaura Hari Bolo Jai Om Shinu Pada Pramhamsa Pratikacharya Shtota Shata Shishmat His Divine Grace Aparchana Vrinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON BBTPI Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Om Shinu Pada Pramhamsa Pratikacharya Shtota Shata Shishmat His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Nama Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Premise Ho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Vrajabhumi Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Shri Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Shri Purushottam Chaitra Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Shri Ayodhya Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Harinama Sankirtana Ki Jai Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Samarita Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai All glories to the assembled devotees All glories to the assembled devotees All glories to the assembled devotees All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga All glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai
Namaste Narasimhaya Prahlad Ladadaine Hiranyakashi Purvakshaha Shilatanka Nakalahai Ito Nasimha Parato Nasimha Va Yato Yato Yamitato Nasimha Bahir Nasimha Hidaye Nasimha Narasimham Adim Sharanam Paprade Tabakara Kamalavare Nakam Abhudashinga Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanabringa Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Tabakara Kamalavare काम अबुद श्रृंगाम दलिता हिरण्यकशिपु तन भृंगाम केशवदीता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय भक्त प्रहलाद जय भक्त प्रहलाद जय भक्त प्रहलाद जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव नरसिंहदेव स्वामी की जय भक्त नमो नमः तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः तुलसी प्रेयसी नमो नमः तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः राधा कृष्ण सेवा भावो ये अभिलाषी राधा कृष्ण सेवा पाभो ये अभिलाषी जय तुम्हारा शरण लय तारा वंश पूर्ण होय कृपा कोरी कोरो तारे वृंदावनवासी मोरा ये अभिलाष विलास कुंजे दियो बास नयने हेरी भो सधा जुगल रूप राशि ये निवेदन दारो साखीरानुगत करो सेवाधिकार दिए करो निज दासी दीन कृष्ण दासे को ये न मुरा होय श्री राधा गोविंद प्रेमे सदा ये न भासी श्री राधा गोविंद प्रेमे सदा ये न भासी नमो नमः तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणपादे पदे पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणपादे पदे यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणपादे पदे पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणपादे पदे यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणपादे पदे तानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणपादे पदे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय तुलसी महारानी जय तुलसी महारानी जय तुलसी महारानी जय तुलसी महारानी तुलसी महारानी जय तुलसी महारानी जय तुलसी महारानी जय वृंदा देवी जय वृंदा देवी जय वृंदा देवी जय वृंदा देवी वृंदा देवी जय वृंदा देवी जय वृंदा देवी जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल वृंदाय तुलसी देव्याय प्रियाय केशवस्य च कृष्ण भक्ति प्रदे देवी सत्तवत्ताय नमो नमः वृंदाय तुलसी देव्याय प्रियाय केशवस्य च कृष्ण भक्ति प्रदे देवी सत्तवत्ताय नमो नमः। वृंदाय तुलसी देव्याय प्रियाय केशवस्य च कृष्ण भक्ति प्रदे देवी सत्तवत्ताय नमो नमः। वृंदा देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय।
O Tulasi, beloved of Krishna, I bow down before you again and again. My desire to serve to Shri Radha and Krishna. Forever take shelter of you, that wish is fulfilled. Bestow mercy upon him and make him a resident in Vrindavan. My desire also grant me a residence in precious groves of Shiva and Davanatam. Thus within my vision I shall always behold the beautiful path of Radha and Krishna. I beg you to make me follow a careful dancer virgin. Please give me the praise devotional service and make me your own maid servant. This very fallen lowly servant of Krishna prays. May I always swim in the love, Shri Radha and Govinda, Srimati Tulasi Maharani ki jai. There are 10 fences in the matter of chanting holy name should be avoided, and they are as follows. 1. To blaspheme the devotees who dedicate their life for propagating holy name the Lord. 2. To consider the name the demigods, Lord Shiva or Brahma, to be equal to independent name Lord Vishnu. 3. To disobey the orders of spiritual master. 4. To blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature pursuing the Vedic version. 5. To consider glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination. 6. To give some interpretation to holy name the Lord. 7. To commit sinful activities on strength of chanting the holy name. 8. To consider chanting Hare Krishna when the auspicious ritualistic activities, offering the Vedas fruity activities, karma, kanda. 9. To instruct a faithless person about glory of the holy name. 10. To not complete faith in the chanting holy names, and to maintain material attachments even after standing so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to Vaishnava must carefully guard against these 10 offenses in order to quickly achieve desired success. Krishna Prema. Now let us offer our most humble obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They are just as I choose who can fulfill to everyone and have full compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Shri Chaitanya Shastakam ki jai. Jeto Darpana Marjanam Pavamahadavagni Nirvapanam Shriya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavatu Jivanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamita Swadanam Sarvatmasnapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahudani Ja Sarvashaktis Tatra Pita Niyamita Smaranena Kalaha Eta Dishi Tavakripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durudeva Midisham Iha Janina Nuragaha Trinatapi Suni Jena Tarorapi Sahishnuna Amanina Manatena Kirtaniya Sadaharihi Natanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Vajagadisha Kamaya Mama Jamani Jamani Shvare Bhavata Bhaktir Hai Tuki Tvai Ayinanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mandishame Bhavam Puta Kripaya Tava Pada Pankaja Stitha Duri Satesham Vichintaya Nayanam Kalata Shuru Tharaya Vadanam Katkata Rudaya Kira Pulaka Nichitam Mapurkata Tava Nama Grahane Bhavishati Yuga itam nimi shena chakshusha pravisha itam shunya itam jagat sarvam govinda virahe name ashri shava padratam pinnashtumam adarshanam marmahatam karotuva yatha tatha va vidadhatu lampato madprana natastu sa eva na paraha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Chaitanya Shastakam ki jai. Glory to Shri Krishna Sankirtana, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is prime benediction of humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. O my Lord, your holy name alone grants all benediction to human beings. Thus you have hundreds of millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out kindness enables us to easily approach you by holy names, but I am so unfortunate and have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more taller than the tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor to desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O Samharinanda Krishna, I'm eternal servitor, yet somehow I have fallen in the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me at one of the Adam's or lotus feet. O my Lord, while my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name, while my voice choke up, while hairs of my body stand end the recitation of your name. O Govinda, feeling of separation, I'm considered a moment to be like a great millennium. Tears are flowing from my eyes are torrents of rain, and I'm feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipable Lord, unconditionally. Shri Chaitanya Shikshastakam Ki Jai. Shri Mangala Prayers Ki Jai. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshum Mritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manopishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahakana Ragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savatutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahakana Lalita Shri Vishakham Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Pachate Tarine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Daidaya Kripaptaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Dayine Prabhavin Namaha Madhuyo Jala Premadya Shri Rupa Nuka Bhaktita Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Mutaye Dina Darine Rupa Nuka Virudapa Siddhanta Dvanta Harine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Mutaye Vipalambara Sambodhe Padam Pujayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sachidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupa Nuga Varayate Gaura Virpava Bhumistvam Nirtishtasya Janapriyaha Vaishnava Sarabhaumashi Jaganathaya Te Namaha Vancha Kalpatarupishya Kripa Sindhu Bhevaja Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratishe Namaha Pancha Tattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakham Namami Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Jayatam Surato Pangor Mama Mandar Materkati Masara Sapadam Bojo Radha Madana Mohano Divya Divindadana Kapajumada Shimadra Nagara Singhasanasto Shimadratha Shila Govinda Devo Prishtaribi Sevyamano Smarami Shiman Rasa Rasarambi Vamchivata Tatastitaha Karsham Venu Soner Gopir Gopinata Shiyestunaha Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavanishvari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Panamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Shri Mangala Aarti Prayers Ki Jai. Shri Paramasamhita Ki Jai. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadyaradya Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam Chintamani Parakara Satmasukapa Viksha Lakshaviteshu Surabi Rabi Palayantam Lakshmi Sahasa Shatasam Brahmasevyamanam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Vainun Kavanantam Aravinda Dalaya Daksham Parhavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Gandarpa Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Shopam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Alola Chantakala Savanamada Vamshi Ranang Kadam Panayakiri Kalavilasam Shamam Chipanga Laditam Yatapakasham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Angani Yasya Sakalindriya Vriddhimanti Pashanti Panti Kalayanti Chiram Jaganti Ananda Chimme Sadhu Chila Vigrahasya Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Advaitam Achotam Anadi Mananta Rupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha Vedeshu Durabam Adurabam Atma Bhakta Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Pantastu Koti Shatavassara Sampragamyo Vayuratapi Manaso Munipangavanan Sopyasti Yapapata Simya Vichinta Tatve Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Ekopya Sarya Chaitum Jakatanta Kotim Yachakti Rasti Jakatanta Chayaya Tantaha Antantarastha Paramanu Chayantarastham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Yadbhava Bhavitadiyo Manujasta Deva Samprapya Rupa Mahimasanayana Pushaha Suktayam Eva Nikama Patitai Stuvanti Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Ananda Chime Rasa Patibhavitapis Tapiya Eva Jarupa Dayakalabihi Goloka Eva Nivasatya Kilatma Bhuto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Premanjana Churuta Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadeva Vidayeshu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sunda Machintya Guna Swarupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Ramadi Murtishu Kalanya Mena Tishtan Nanavatarama Puvanishu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samapavat Paramapumam Yo Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pajami. Krishna, who has Govinda, the Supreme Godhead, he has an eternal blissful spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin and the prime cause of all causes.
The primeval Lord, the first progenitor who is tending the cows, yielding all desire, in abodes built with spiritual gems, surrounded by millions of purpose trees, always served with great reverence and affection by hundreds of thousands of Lakshmis or Gopis.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is adept in playing on his flute, with blooming eyes and lotus petals, with head decked with peacock's feather, with a figure of beauty tinged with the hue of blue clouds, and the unique loveliness charming millions of cupids.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, round whose neck is swinging a garland of flowers, beautified with the moon locket, whose two hands are adorned with the flute and jeweled ornaments, who always revels in pastimes of love, whose graceful threefold bending form of Shamasundara is eternally manifest.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose transcendent form is full of bliss, truth, substantiality, and is thus full of the most dazzling splendor. Each of the limbs of that transcendental figure possesses in himself the full-fledged functions of all the organs, and eternally sees, maintains, and manifests the infinite universes, both spiritual and mundane.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is inaccessible to the Vedas but obtainable by pure and unalloyed devotion of the soul, who is without a second, who is not subject to decay. He is without a beginning, whose form is endless, who is the beginning and the eternal Purusha. He is the person possessing the beauty of blooming youth.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, only the tip of the toe of whose lotus feet is approached by the yogis, who aspire after the transcendental and betake themselves to pranayama by drilling the respiration, or by the jnanis who try to find out the non-differentiated Brahman by the process of elimination of the mundane, extending over thousands of millions of years.
He is an undifferentiated entity as there is no He is an undifferentiated entity as there is no distinction between potency and the possessor thereof. In his work of creation of millions of worlds, his potency remains inseparable. All the universes exist in him and he is present in his fullness in every one of the atoms that are scattered throughout the universe at one and the same time. Such is the primeval Lord whom I adore.
I adore the same Govinda, the primeval Lord, in whose praise men, who are imbued with devotion, sing the mantra suktas taught by the Vedas, by gaining their appropriate beauty, greatness, thrones, conveniences, and ornaments.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, residing in his own realm, Goloka with Radha, resembling his own spiritual figure, The embodiment of the ecstatic potency possessed of the 64 artistic activities in the company of her confidant Sakhis, embodiments of the extensions of her bodily form, permeated and vitalized by his ever blissful spiritual rasa.
I worship Govinda, the Prime Lord, who is Shyamasundara, Krishna himself, with inconceivable, innumerable attributes, whom the pure devotees see in the heart of hearts with the eye of devotion, tinged with the salve of love.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord who manifested himself personally as Krishna and the different avatars in the world in the forms of Rama, Nrsimha, Vamana, etc. as a subject to portion. Sri Brahma Samhita ki jai. Bhagavad Gita 7.1 Purport Srinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Sravana Kirtanaha Hridayanta Histo hi Abhadrani Vidinoti Suhrutsatam Nasta Prayeswa Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Tada Rajastamo Bhava Kama Lobhasjayase Cheta Eter Anavidam Sitam Satve Prasidati Evam Prasanna Manaso Bhagavad Bhakti Yogataha भगवत्तत्त्वविज्ञानं मुक्तसङ्गस्य जायते विद्यते हृदयग्रन्थिश्छिद्यन्ते सर्वसंशयाः क्षीयन्ते च कर्माणि दृष्टा एवात्मनीश्वरे. To hear about Krishna from Vedic literatures or to hear from him directly through the Bhagavad Gita is itself righteous activity. And for one who hears about Krishna, Lord Krishna, who is dwelling in everyone's heart, acts as the best wishing friend and purifies the devotee who constantly engages in hearing of him. In this way, devotee naturally develops his dormant transcendental knowledge. As he hears more about Krishna from the Bhagavatam and from the devotees, he becomes fixed in the devotional service of the Lord. By development of devotional service, one becomes freed from the modes of passion and ignorance, and thus material lust and avarice are diminished. When these impurities are wiped away, the candidate remains steady in his position of pure goodness, becomes enlivened by devotional service, and understands the signs of God perfectly. Thus, Bhakti Yoga severs the hard knot of material affection and enables one to come at once to the stage of Asamsayam Samagram. Understanding of the Supreme Absolute Truth, Personality of Godhead, Bhagavatam 1.2.17 to 21. Therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotee in Krishna consciousness can one understand the signs of Krishna. Hare Krishna. We'll continue reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 25, Text 27. Asevayayam prakriter gunanam jnanena vairagya vijravithena yogena mai arpitaya cha bhakta bhaktya Mam pratyag atmanam iha varunde asevaya. By not engaging in the service, I am this person, prakrite gunanam, of the modes of material nature, jnanena, by knowledge, vairagya, with renunciation, vijrabhitena, developed, yogena, by practicing yoga, mai, unto me, arpitaya, fixed, cha, and bhaktya, with devotion, mam, unto me, pratyak atmanam, the absolute truth, iha, in this very life, avarunde, one attains. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thus, by not engaging in the service of the modes of material nature, but by developing Krishna consciousness, knowledge in renunciation, and by practicing yoga, in which the mind is always fixed in devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one achieves my association in this very life. For I am the Supreme Personality, the Absolute Truth. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. When one engages in devotional service to the Lord in the 9 different kinds of Bhakti Yoga, as enunciated in authoritative scriptures such as hearing, Shravanam, chanting, Kirtanam, remembering, offering worship, praying, and offering personal service, either in one of them, or 2 or 3, or all of them, he naturally has no opportunity to engage in the service of the 3 modes of material nature. Unless one has good engagements in spiritual service, it is not possible to get out of the attachment to material service. Those who are not devotees, therefore, are interested in so-called humanitarian or philanthropic work, such as opening a hospital or charitable institution. These are undoubtedly good works in the sense that they are pious activities, and the result is that the performer may get some opportunities for sense gratification either in this life or in the next. Devotional service, however, is beyond the boundary of sense gratification. It is completely spiritual activity. When one engages in the spiritual activities of devotional service, naturally he does not get any opportunity to engage in sense gratificatory activities. Krishna conscious activities are performed not blindly but with perfect understanding of knowledge and renunciation. This kind of yoga practice, in which the mind is always fixed upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead in devotion, results in liberation in this very life. The person who performs such acts gets in touch with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Chaitanya therefore approved the process of hearing from realized devotees about the pastimes of the Lord. It does not matter to what category of this world the audience belongs. If one meekly and submissively hears about the activities of the Lord from a realized soul, he will be able to conquer the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is unconquerable by any other process. Hearing or associating with devotees is the most important function for self realization.
देवहूतिर्वाचा कच्चित्त्वयोचिता भक्तिः कीदृशी मामगोचरा यायापादं यायापदं निर्वाणम् आज्ञाशान्वास्नवाहम्. Devahutihi vacha. Devahuti said, Kachit what? Twai unto you. Uchita. Proper. Bhaktihi. Devotional service. Kidrishi. What kind? Mama. By me. Mama. By me. Gokara. Fit to be practiced. Yaya, by which, padam, feet, te, your, nirvanam, liberation, nirvanam, liberation, agnasa, immediately, ashvanavai, shall attain, aham, I. Translation. On hearing this statement of the Lord, the Devahuti inquired, what kind of devotional service is worth developing and practicing to help me easily and immediately attain the service of your lotus feet? Purport. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita that no one is barred from rendering service to the Lord. Whether one is a woman or a laborer or a merchant, if he engages himself in the devotional service of the Lord, he is promoted to the highest perfectional state and goes back home, back to Godhead. The devotional service most suitable for different types of devotees is determined and fixed by the mercy of the spiritual master.
Text 29, Canto 3, Chapter 25. Yo yogo bhagavad bhanu nirvanatmo nirvanatmams tvayodita kidrishan kati changani yatastattvavabodhanam. Yeah, which yoga, mystic yoga practice, bhagavad bhana, aiming at the Supreme Personality of Godhead, nirvana atman, O embodiment of nirvana, tvaya by you, Udidaha explained. Kidrishaha, of what nature, Kati, how many, Cha, and Angani, branches, Yataha, by which, Tattva, the truth, Avobodhanam, understanding. Translation. The mystic yoga system, as you have explained, aims at the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is meant for completely ending material existence. Please let me know the nature of that yoga system. How many ways are there by which one can understand in truth the sublime yoga? Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. There are different kinds of mystic yoga systems aiming for different phases of the absolute truth. The Gnana Yoga system aims at the impersonal Brahman effulgence, The Hatha Yoga system aims at the localized personal aspect, the Paramatma feature of the Absolute Truth, whereas Bhakti Yoga, devotional service, which is executed in nine different ways, headed by hearing and chanting, aims at complete realization of the Supreme Lord. There are different methods for self realization, but here Devahuti especially refers to the Bhakti Yoga system, which has already been primarily explained by the Lord. The different parts of the Bhakti Yoga system are hearing, chanting, remembering, offering prayers, worshipping the Lord in the temple, accepting service to Him, carrying out His orders, making friendship with Him, and ultimately surrendering everything for the service of the Lord. The word Nirvanatman, is very significant here in this verse. Unless one accepts the process of devotional service, one cannot end the continuation of material existence. As far as Jnanis are concerned, they are interested in Gnana Yoga, but even if one elevates oneself after a great performance of austerity to the Brahman effulgence, there is a chance of falling down again to the material world. Therefore, Gnana Yoga does not actually end material existence. Similarly, regarding the Hatha Yoga system, which aims at the localized aspect of the Lord, Paramatma, it has been experienced that many yogis, such as Vishwamitra, fall down. But Bhakti Yogas, once approaching the Supreme Personality of Godhead, never come back to this material world, as it is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Yadgatva na nivardante. Upon going, one never comes back. Taktva deham punarjanma naiti. After giving up this body, he never comes back again to accept a material body. Nirvana does not finish the existence of the soul. The soul is ever existing. Therefore, nirvana means to end one's material existence. And to end material existence means to go back home, back to Godhead. Sometimes it is asked how the living entity falls down from the spiritual world to the material world. Here is the answer. Unless one is elevated to the Vaikuntha planets, directly in touch with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is prone to fall down either from the impersonal Brahman realization or from an ecstatic trance of meditation. Another word in this verse, Bhagavad Bhana, is very significant. Bhanaha means arrow. The Bhakti Yoga system is just like an arrow aiming up to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Bhakti Yoga system never urges one towards the impersonal Brahman effulgence or to the point of Paramatma realization. This Bhana or arrow is so sharp and swift that it goes directly to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, penetrating the regions of impersonal Brahman and localized Paramatma.
Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 25, Text 30. Tad etan me vijananihi yathaham mandadhir hare sukam buddhyeya durbodham yosha bhavad anugrahat. Tat etat, that same, me to me, vijananihi, please explain, yatha, so that, aham, I, manda, slow, dihi, whose intelligence, hare, O my Lord, sukam, easily, buddhyeya, may understand, durbodham, very difficult to understand, yosa, a woman, bhavat anugrahat, by your grace. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. My dear son Kapila, after all, I am a woman. It is very difficult for me to understand the absolute truth because my intelligence is not very great. But if you will kindly explain it to me, even though I am not very intelligent, I can understand it and thereby feel transcendental happiness. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Knowledge of the absolute truth is not very easily understood by ordinary less intelligent men. But if the spiritual master is kind enough to the disciple, however unintelligent the disciple may be, then by the divine grace of the spiritual master, everything is revealed. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura therefore says, Yasha Prasadat, by the memory of the spiritual master, the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavat Prasada, is revealed. Devahuti requested her great son to be merciful towards her because she was a less intelligent woman and also his mother. By the grace of Kapila Deva, it was quite possible for her to understand the absolute truth, even though the subject matter is very difficult for ordinary persons, especially women.
Text 31. Maitreya Uvacha Viditvartam Kapilo Madhuritaham Jatasneho Yetra Tanva Bijataha Tatvam Nayam Yad Pravadanti Sankyam Provocha Vaibhakti-vitana-yogam. Maitreya Uvacha. Maitreya said, Viditva, having known Ardham purpose, Kapila, Lord Kapila, Matu of his mother, Itham, thus, Jata Sneha became compassionate, Yatra upon her, Thanva from her body, Abhijata born, Tattvam Nayam, truth received by disciplic succession, Yat which, Pravadanti they call, Sankyam, Sankhya philosophy, Provacha, he described why, in fact, Bhakti devotional service, Vitana, spreading yoga, mystic yoga. Translation Sri Maitreya said, after hearing the statement of his mother, Kapila could understand her purpose and he became compassionate towards her because of being born of her body. He described the Sankhya system of philosophy, which is a combination of devotional service and mystic realization, as received by disciplic succession. Text 32.
Shri Bhagavan Vacha Devanam Gunalinganam Nanushravika Karmanam Sattva Evaika Manaso Vrittihi Swabhaviktuya Animitta Bhagavati Bhakti Siddhi Gariyasi. Shri Bhagavan Vacha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, said, Devanam, of the senses of the presiding deities of the senses, Gunalinganam, with the detect sense objects, Anushravika, according to scripture, Karmanam, which work, Sattve, unto the mind or unto the Lord, Eva, only, Eka, Manasaha, of a man of undivided mind, Vrittaha, inclination, Svabhaviki, natural, Tu, in fact, Ya, which, Animita, without motive, Bhagavati, to the personality of Godhead, Bhaktihi, the devotional service, Siddhehe, then salvation, Gariyasi, better. Translation. Lord Kapila said, the senses are symbolic representations of the demigods, and their natural inclination is to work under the direction of the Vedic injunctions. As the senses are representatives of the demigods, so the mind is the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The mind's natural duty is to serve. When that service spirit is engaged in devotional service to the personality of Godhead without any motive, then that is far better even than salvation. Purport: the senses of the living entity are always engaged in some occupation, either in the activities prescribed in the Vedic and in the injunctions of the Vedas, or in material activities. The natural inclination of the senses is to work for something, and the mind is the center of the senses. The mind is actually the leader of the senses. Therefore, it is called sattva. Similarly, the leader of all the demigods who are engaged in the activities of this material world, the sun god, moon god, Indra, and others, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That doesn't make sense. Similarly, the leader of all the demigods who are engaged in the activities of this material world, the sun god, moon god, Indra, and others, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is stated in the Vedic literature that the demigods are different limbs of the universal body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Our senses are also controlled by different demigods. Our senses are representations of various demigods, and the mind is the representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The senses, led by the mind, act under the influence of the demigods. When the service is ultimately aimed at the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the senses are in their natural position. The Lord is called Hrishikesha, for he is actually the proprietor and ultimate master of the senses. The senses and the mind are naturally inclined to work, but when they are materially contaminated, they work for some material benefit or for the service of the demigods, although actually they are meant to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The senses are called Hrishikesha, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead is called Hrishikesha. The senses are called Hrishika, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead is called Hrishikesha. Indirectly, all the senses are naturally inclined to serve the Lord, the Supreme Lord. That is called bhakti. Kapila Deva says that when the senses without desire for material profit or other selfish motives are engaged in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one is situated in devotional service. That spirit of service is far better than siddhi, salvation, bhakti, the inclination to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead is in a transcendental position far better than mukti, or liberation. Thus, bhakti is the stage after liberation. Unless one is liberated, one cannot engage the senses in the service of the Lord. When the senses are engaged either in material activities or sense gratification, or in the activities of the Vedic injunctions, there is some motive. But when the same senses are engaged in the service of the Lord, there is no motive. That is called animita, and is the natural inclination of the mind. The conclusion is that when the mind, without being deviated either by Vedic injunctions or by material activities, is fully engaged in Krishna consciousness or devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is far better than the most aspired for liberation from material entanglement.
Text 33. Jarayati asuya kosham nigirnam analoyata. Jarayati dissolves asu quickly, ya which, kosham the subtle body, nigirnam, nigirnam, things eaten, anlaha fire, yata as. Translation: Bhakti, devotion service, dissolves the subtle body of the living entity without separate effort, just as a fire in the stomach digests all that we eat. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Bhakti is in a far higher position than mukti, because a person's endeavor to get liberation from the material entanglement is automatically served in devotional service. The example is given here that the fire in the stomach can digest whatever we eat. If the digestive power is sufficient, then whatever we can eat will be digested by the fire in the stomach. Similarly, a devotee does not have to try separately to attain liberation. That very service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the process of his liberation. Because to engage oneself in the service of the Lord is to liberate oneself from material entanglement. Sri Bilva Mangala Thakura explained his position very nicely. He said, if I have unflinching devotion to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, then Mukti or liberation serves me as my maid servant. Mukti, the maid servant, is always ready to do whatever I ask. For a devotee, liberation is no problem at all. Liberation takes place without separate endeavor. Bhakti, therefore, is far better than mukti or the impersonalist position. The impersonalist undergoes severe penances and austerities to attain mukti. But the bhakta, simply by engaging himself in the bhakti process, especially in chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, immediately develops control over the tongue by engaging it in chanting and accepting the remnants of foodstuff offered to the personality of Godhead. As soon as the tongue is controlled, naturally all other senses are controlled automatically. Sense control is the perfection of the yoga principle, and one's liberation begins immediately as soon as he engages himself in the service of the Lord. It is confirmed by Kapiladeva that bhakti or devotion service is gariyasi, more glorious than siddhi, liberation.
Nag Naikatmana Maik Naik Naikatmata me sprihayandi kechin matpada seva bhirata madiha yenyonyata nyenyoNyato bhagavata prasajya sabhajayante mama paurushani. Now and ever, eka atmatam, emerging into one's oneness. My sprihayanti. They desire kechit any madpada seva, the service of my lotus feet. Abhirtaha, engaged in mad ihaha, endeavoring to attain me. Ye, those who anyonyatitaha, mutually, Bhagavataha, pure devotees, prasajya, assembling, sabhajayante, glorify, mama, my, paurashani, glorious activities. Translation: a pure devotee who is attached to the activities of devotional service and who always engages in the service of my lotus feet never desires to become one with me. Such a devotee who is unflinchingly engaged always glorifies my pastimes and activities. Purport: there are 5 kinds of liberation stated in the scriptures. One is to become one with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or to forsake one's individuality and merge into the Supreme Spirit. This is called ekatmadam. A devotee never accepts this kind of liberation. The other 4 liberations are to be promoted to the same planet as God, Vaikuntha, to associate personally with the Supreme Lord, to achieve the same opulence as the Lord, and to attain the same bodily features as the Supreme Lord. A pure devotee, as will be explained by Kapila Muni, does not aspire for any of the 5 liberations. He especially despises as hellish the idea of becoming one with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sri Prabhupadananda Saraswati, a great devotee of the Lord Chaitanya, said, Kaivalyam narakayate. The happiness of becoming one with the Supreme Lord, which is aspired for by the Mayavadis, is considered hellish. That oneness is for the pure devotees. Is not for the pure devotees. There are many so-called devotees who think that in the conditioned state we worship the Supreme Personality of God, but that ultimately there is no personality. They say that since the absolute truth is impersonal, one can imagine a personal form of the absolute truth for the time being. But as soon as one becomes liberated, but in the worship stops. That is the theory put forward by the Mayavada philosophy. Actually, the personalists do not merge into the existence of the Supreme Person, but into his personal bodily luster, which is called the Brahma Jyoti. Although that Brahma Jyoti is not luster is not different from his personal body. That sort of oneness merging into the bodily luster of the personality of Godhead is not accepted by a pure devotee because the devotees engage in greater pleasure than the so-called pleasure of merging into his existence. The greatest pleasure is to serve the Lord. Devotees are always thinking about how to serve him. They are always designing ways and means to serve the Supreme Lord, even in the midst of the greatest obstacles of material existence. The Mayavadis accept the description of the pastimes of the Lord as stories, but actually they are not stories. They are historical facts. Pure devotees accept the narrations of the pastimes of the Lord not as stories, but as absolute truth. The words Mana Pura Mama Paurushani are significant. Devotees are very much attached to glorifying the activities of the Lord, whereas the Mayavadis cannot even think of these activities. According to them, the absolute truth is impersonal. Without personal existence, how can there be activity? The impersonalists take the activities mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and other Vedic literatures as fictitious stories, and therefore they interpret them most mischievously. They have no idea of the personality of Godhead. They unnecessarily poke their noses into the scripture and interpret it in a deceptive way in order to mislead the innocent people. The activities of Mayavada philosophy are very dangerous to the public. And therefore Lord Chaitanya warned us never to hear from any Mayavadi about any scripture. They will spoil the entire process, and the person hearing them will never be able to come to the path of devotional service to attain the highest perfection, or will be able to do so only after a very long time. It is clearly stated by Kapila Muni that bhakti activities or activities in a devotional service are transcendental to mukti. This is called Panchama Purushartha. Generally, people engage in the activities of religion, economic development, and sense gratification, and ultimately they work with an idea that they are going to become one with the Supreme Personality, Supreme Lord, Mukti. But bhakti is transcendental to all these activities. The Srimad Bhagavatam therefore eradicated from the Bhagavatam ritualistic activities for economic development and sense gratification, and after frustration and sense gratification, the desire to become one with the Supreme Lord are all completely rejected in the Bhagavatam. The Bhagavatam is especially meant for the pure devotees who always engage in Krishna consciousness, in the activities of the Lord, and always glorify these transcendental activities. Pure devotees worship the transcendental activities of the Lord in Vrindavana. Dwaraka and Mathura, as they are narrated in the Srimad Bhagavatam and other Puranas. The Mayavadi philosophers completely reject them as stories. but actually they are great and worshipable subject matters and thus are relishable only for devotees. That is the difference between a Mayavadi and a pure devotee.
Text 35. Pashyanti te me ruchirani ambashanta prasanna vaktraruna lochanani रूपानि दिव्यानि वरप्रदानि साकं वाचं स्पृहणीयं वदन्ति Pashyanti, see, they, may, my, Ruchirani, beautiful, Amba, O mother, Santaha, devotees, Prasanna, smiling, Vaktra, face, Aruna, like the moving sun, Lochanani, eyes, Rupani, forms, Divyani, transcendental, Varapradani, benevolent, Sakam, with me, Vacham, words, Spruhaniyam, favorable, Vadanti, they speak. Translation: O my mother, my devotees always see the smiling face of my form, with eyes like the rising morning sun. They like to see my various transcendental forms, which are all benevolent, and they also talk favorably with me. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Mayavadis and atheists accept the forms of deities in the temple of the Lord as idols. But devotees do not worship idols. They directly worship the personality of Godhead in His Archa incarnation. Archa refers to the form which we can worship in our present condition. Actually, in our present state, it is not possible to see God in His spiritual form because our material eyes and senses cannot conceive of a spiritual form. We cannot even see the spiritual form of the individual soul. When a man dies, we cannot see how the spiritual form leaves the body. That is the defect of our material senses. In order to be seen by our material senses, the Supreme Personality of Godhead accepts a favorable form which is called Archa Vigraha. This Archa Vigraha, sometimes called the Archa Incarnation, is not different from Him. Just as the Supreme Personality of Godhead accepts various incarnations, He takes on forms made out of matter, clay, wood, metal, and jewels. There are many sastric injunctions which give instruction for carving forms of the Lord. These forms are not material. If God is all pervading, then He is also in the material elements. There is no doubt about it. But the atheists think otherwise, although they preach that everything is God, and when they go to the temple and see the form of the Lord, they deny that He is God. According to their own theory, everything is God. Then why is the deity not God? Actually, they have no conception of God. The devotee's vision, however, is different. Their vision is smeared with the love of God. As soon as they see the Lord in His different forms, the devotees become saturated with love, for they do not find any difference between the Lord and His form in the temple, as do the atheist. The smiling face of the deity in the temple is beheld by the devotees as transcendental and spiritual, and the decoration of the body of the Lord is very much appreciated by the devotees. It is the duty of the spiritual master to teach how to decorate the deity in the temple, how to cleanse the temple, and how to worship the deity. These are different procedures and rules and regulations which are followed in temples of Vishnu. And devotees go there and see the deity Vigraha, and spiritually enjoy the form because all of the deities are benevolent. The devotees express their minds before the deity, and in many instances, the deity also gives answers. But one must be very elevated to devotee in order to be able to speak the Supreme Lord. Sometimes the Lord informs the devotee through dreams. These exchanges of feelings between the deity and the devotee are not understandable by the atheist, but actually by the devotees enjoys them. Kapilamuni is explaining how the devotees see the decorated body and face of the deity and how they speak with him in devotion service.
Tairdasyaniyam Yavairudara Havila Savihashekshita Vyama Suktai Hridhatma मनोहृदप्रणांश्च भक्तैरनिच्छतोद्मये गतिमानि अन्विप्रयन्ते. I can't read it. Can you read the whole verse again?
तैदर्शनीया वयवैरुदारा विलासः शिक्षितवामसूक्तैः हृतात्मनो हृता प्राणां च भक्ति अनिच्छतो मे गतिम् अन्विं प्रयुङ्क्ते.
Daihi, by those forms. Daishaniya, charming. Avai, whose limbs. Uddara, exalted. Vilasa, exalt. Udara, exalted. Vilasa, pastimes. Hasa, smiling. Ikshita, glances. Vama, pleasing. Suktai, whose delightful words. Hrita, captivated. Atmanaha, their minds. Hrita, captivated. Pranan, their senses. Cha, and bhaktihi, devotional service. Anichataha, unwilling. Me, my. Gatim, abode. Anvim, settle. Prayunkte, secures. Translation. Upon seeing the charming forms of the Lord, smiling and attractive, and hearing his very pleasing words, the pure devotee almost loses all other consciousness. His senses are freed from all other engagements, and he becomes absorbed in devotional service. Thus, in spite of his unwillingness, he attains liberation without separate endeavor. But it's so many long ones. Okay. Purport. There are 3 divisions of devotees: first class, second class, and third class. Even the third class devotees are liberated souls. It is explained in this verse that although they do not have knowledge, simply by seeing the beautiful decoration of the deity in the temple, the devotee is absorbed in thought of him and loses all other consciousness. Simply by fixing oneself in Krishna consciousness, one engaging the senses in the service of the Lord, one is imperceptibly liberated. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Simply by discharging uncontaminated devotional service as prescribed in the scriptures, one becomes equal to Brahman. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. This means that the living entity in his original state is Brahman, because he is part and parcel of the Supreme Brahman. But simply because of his forgetfulness of his real nature as an eternal servitor of the Lord, he is overwhelmed and captured by Maya. His forgetfulness of his real constitutional position is Maya. Otherwise, he is eternally Brahman. When one is trained to become conscious of his position, he understands that he is the servitor of the Lord. Brahman refers to a state of self-realization. Even the third-class devotee who is not advanced in knowledge of the absolute truth, but simply offers obeisances with great devotion, thanks of the Lord, sees the Lord in the temple, and brings forth flowers and fruits to offer to the deity. Because imperceptibly liberated, Shraddhayanvitaha. With great devotion, the devotees offer worshipful respects and paraphernalia to the deity. The deities of Radha and Krishna, Lakshmi, Narayana, and Rama and Sita are very attractive to devotees. So so much so that when one so so much so that when they see the statue decorated in the temple of the Lord, they become fully absorbed in the thought of the Lord. That is the state of liberation. In other words, it is confirmed herewith that even a third class devotee is in the transcendental position, above those who are trying for liberation by speculation or by other methods. Even great impersonalists like Sukadeva Goswami and the four Kumaras were attracted by the beauty of the deities in the temples, by the decorations, and by the aroma of tulsi offered to the Lord.
And they became devotees even though they were in the liberated state. Instead of remaining impersonalist, they were attracted by the beauty of the Lord and became devotees. Here the word vilasa is very important. Vilasa refers to the activities or pastimes of the Lord. It is a prescribed duty in the temple worship that not only should one visit the temple to see the deity nicely decorated, but at the same time he should hear the recitation of Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavad Gita Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, or some similar literature, which is regularly recited in the temple. It is the system in Vrindavana that in every temple there is recitation of the Shastras. Even third-class devotees who have no literary knowledge or no time to read Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita get the opportunity to hear about the pastimes of the Lord. In this way, their minds may remain absorbed in the thought of the Lord, His form, His activities, and His transcendental nature. This state of Krishna consciousness is a liberated stage. Lord Chaitanya therefore recommended 5 important processes in the discharge of devotional service. 1. To chant the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. 2. To associate with devotees and serve them as far as possible. 3. To hear Srimad Bhagavatam. 4. To see the decorated temple and the deity, and, if possible, 5. To live in a place like Vrindavana or Mathura. These 5 items alone can help a devotee achieve the highest perfectional stage. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita and here in the Srimad Bhagavatam. That third-class devotee can also imperceptibly achieve liberation is accepted in all Vedic literatures. Today we read up to Canto 3, Chapter 25, Text 36. Continue reading tomorrow. Sarvam Krishna Arpanamastu, Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu, Lokan Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hare Krishna. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Sri Guru Cherana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma Bandamui Savadana Mate Jahara Prasadi Bai E Baba Turiya Jai Krishna Prapti Ho Jah Hote Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Koriya Kya Arana Kori Ho Mani Asha He Guru Charani Rati Ese Uttama Gati Prasade Pure Sarva Asha चक्षुदान दिलो जे जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशितो प्रेम भक्ति जहाँ होते अविद्या विनाशा जाते वेदे गाय जहाँ चरितो श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु आदाम जय नारा बंधु लोकाना लोके राजीवाना आहा प्रभु कोर दोया देहा मोरे पाद छाया ए बीजास दुसुख त्रिभुवाना शीला प्रभुपाद पतिता पावाना जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्यिति नामिने
Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Nityai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nityai Gaura Hari Bol.
The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. I bow down to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering napped in the mercy of Krishna. My only wish is to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is a perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens my darkened eyes and fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord birth after birth. From him ecstatic prema emanates, by him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor, the Lord and master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds. We take the shelter of your lotus feet. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.